Anna, it's very nice to have you here. We are today in Kuopio.
Hi, I'm happy to be there.
We are going to discuss today a little bit about the position of the Russian-speaking minority in Finland.
Yeah.
And also a little bit about media and social media and the implications of the war in Ukraine and how has it affected the Russian-speaking minority in Finland.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's very nice that you are here to discuss with us about these topics. You have moved to Finland from Russia quite recently, and you're studying in Finland, but you have family in both countries.
Yes, right.
So maybe we start introducing you to the audience. Would you like to a little bit describe your identity? Who are you?
Well, it's a hard question, to be honest, because all my life, while I learned Finnish in school, before school, while I came to my grandpa to Finland, all my life I felt like I didn't deserve to call myself Finnish because I thought I don't have enough reasons for that. So I wanted to call myself not Finnish, but maybe half Finland, maybe something like that, part of Finnish. But no, I never did that. But my friends always called me in university or somewhere else. I had usually nickname like Finnish. So, but I never felt myself Finnish enough. Especially when I came to Finland, because there is everyone Finnish and I don't speak Finnish good enough. While I'm into Finnish culture, Finnish literature, everything, because it was in my school, it was necessary to learn, so necessary to participate in some events, and I was really excited to participate in this event. So I'm really deep into that, but I can't say that I'm Finnish at all. Maybe a little bit now, because I'm part of Russians, and I see that in this Russian group I'm Finnish. So yeah.
Yeah, but that's very well described. That how it is to somehow be somehow part of both, but also that you feel that you have to split into between the cultures.
Yes, it's hard to. For someone maybe it's so easy, but for me it always was a question: can I call myself Finnish? Do I have enough reasons for that, or should I even have these reasons? Why can I call myself Finnish? Because just part of my family is Finnish. Why it's not enough? So I'm still not sure, but now I'm more brave to say that, yeah, I'm Finnish. I took my grandfather's surname, so I have a double surname. So, but in Finland I find myself Russian friends mostly. So it was not even hard, while there is much more Finnish people. But I still found someone Russian and I just became friends with them. So, of course, I feel myself as a Russian, but not for 100%. But I can say that I'm not, while my family, my friends, and my heart is in Russian.
Yeah, but it's actually really in the sense that because you speak both languages fluently, so you're able to also follow you're able to follow discussion on both languages and the media, and you can also relate and understand, I guess, better, and that's also somehow a great asset that to be able to follow both ethnic groups or relations among people. If we talk about the war in Ukraine, I think and how it has impacted the discussion or the relations in Finland, maybe we would like to go a little bit back first.
Yeah.
How is your idea how was it before this war broke out, how were the relations between the, let's say, the majority population and the Russian-speaking minority?
Well, it was nice because in Finland and in Russia both it was like no problems all the time. Maybe someone was aggressive, like and always. We have some pretty nationalism dudes who like to say that Finland is only for Finns or Russia is only for Russians. So it always is, but mostly people are so nice, so friendly inside Russian minority and just inside whole Finland. So I had no problems or like problems. I never had any problems in Finland while I communicated with Ukrainians or with Russians. So we just lived like we live.
Normal life.
Normal life, yeah. Nothing. Yes, I can say when I started in college there, when I was 16, it was like 5 years ago. So then I lived in the same room with Ukrainian girl, and only once we had discussion about Crimea. She asked, "Is it Crimea Ukrainian or Russian?" And I was just like, I was 16. What can I say? I don't know. I don't care. I just can say that. Well, I don't understand why we need that. Why Putin do that all? So I was just like, I hope that people live their goods, no matter is it Ukrainian or Russian. So only once it was like Ukrainian-Russian relations discussion, but all the time before and after we just lived together, and I've seen no difference between her or my Russian friends.
But has this now changed somehow since the war started?
It changed,
Okay.
but mostly in internet, because in just Kuopio or whole Finland, I think it's the same situation everywhere. I met their Ukrainians. I've never met them before in Kuopio, but I met them in there was cultural day in some event. So I came there and there was a lot of Ukrainians. They just came from Mariupol, from Ukraine, and we didn't communicate a lot, but while we spoke, there was no problems in real life. But in internet, and I know that they are friends with our Russians, whom I know. Yeah, but in the internet, it's of course it changed so much.
Can you describe like how? What kind of change have you noticed?
I usually use TikTok. I don't use Facebook or something like that, so I don't know about discussions there, but I know about discussions on the videos in the TikTok. That's also a big blast of discussions. So now I see a lot of videos like I've seen that before, but not that much, like Russian language is not Slavic. Because Russians don't understand Ukrainian. What can I say? Why is the argument? Well, mostly when I see videos like that, I'm just so confused because that's not like.
So there's a bit of a new kind of nationalism.
Yeah. I understand why. I understand what provocates Ukrainians to just want to not associate it with Russian, with anything Russian or with Russia at all. They just want to be Ukrainian, and sometimes it's okay, but sometimes the arguments are not into science or are not into just something obvious like Russia and Ukraine are Slavic countries, and does they want or not our culture and everything, like dances, music, can be similar. So it's okay, and our languages, of course. So sometimes I don't understand these arguments like Russian language is not Slavic, because Russians don't understand other Slavic languages.
So you mean that like when they are trying to kind of like put like the cultures against one another?
Yeah. So like dances, for example, I've seen that they show Gopak, that's Ukrainian dance, and Kalinka, that's Russian, and they show that these two dances, they are different, but they compare these dances and they say sometimes that Gopak is better, while how they can compare national dances. That's sometimes strange, but of course I understand the reasons, and I'm okay with that. But a lot of people under these videos are not okay. And there is also aggressive discussions about, well, that's so different dances, they're just dances, why you compare that? And then someone write that no matter, just Gopak is more free, even like Ukrainian is more free than Russia. You see national dances show our mood, and mostly that's not even discussion. There's just two people speak with both. So and they don't hear each other.
I found like at least few media articles that have interviewed Teemu Oivo, a researcher from the Helsinki University, and he has followed the discussion among the Russian-speaking people in social media, and evidently noted that the tone of discussion has become more intense in general, so somehow like the discussion is more heated than before. And also he discovered that there's like a little bit like signs of increasing suspiciousness between people, like among Russians, like kind of Russian speaking, like kind of also splitting between the kind of different opinions, but also then like other people like kind of being like somehow suspicious against the Russian speaking people. So how do you find this? Do you find the similar tendencies? Is there like thinking that we now discussed about the kind of Ukrainians and Russians having this like kind of debate, but what about among the Russians? Does this war somehow split opinions, if we start from that?
Sometimes I see some aggressive comments in Instagram. Well, it's not even that's not, we can't use it anymore in Russia, like
Okay.
so but we use VPN, but of course Russians use it, continue using, but it's Putin say no to Instagram, but I still see, of course, there's comments under just people can post something calm, nothing about war, and there will be like it can be public people, some star, celebrity, and Russian celebrity, and there can be comments like, why you don't speak about war, why you don't tell about it, you have a voice, you can't say. And we had, not we, like Russians, and we have like comic star, and he had concerts in USA, and he was asked about war in Ukraine, what do you feel? And he's not Russian, he's from Kazakhstan, but he is popular in Russia mostly, and so he said that, well, I don't speak about it because I'm so scared, I'm afraid about my family and about my kids, about it all, so just let's continue our concert like it was planned. And then people really started to hate him because he doesn't use his voice to share the problems of Ukrainians. And there is a lot of discussion about this situation in Russian speaking society, because it's like from one side it's okay, I can understand him. From other side, why you don't use your voice? Everyone is scared, people die, and you just can't say something. So there is a lot of different opinions, even about just celebrities' views, celebrities' moments, just what they do. They continue to do concerts while war. They are not ready to speak about it, and people so angry about that. So I can say that now Russian speaking internet is gone. I think I can say that there's also war.
Yeah. In the internet.
Yeah.
Do you feel that you're more in the spotlight somehow, being a Russian now? Do people pay attention to it? Do you get like more reactions somehow? Or in general, like people that like are considered being the Russian-speaking minority?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So it's not like that it affects your everyday life, like
Yeah,
outside the internet as such?
Only in internet. In fact, in everyday life, it's like it was. Because, you know, Finnish people are so friendly, so nice, mostly. And when it all started, I got from my classmates from university some messages like, "Are you okay? Nobody bully you? Like, what do you feel about this situation? Maybe you need some help." So no one said that I am just Russian. Go away to Russia, you started a war. No one. And when I meet new people, mostly if they ask something about war, they ask only like, what do you feel, what do you think about it?
But if we think of like then the conventional media, or how media reports about the war and the ethnic relations, how do you see that? How has the Finnish media done, or the international media, about reporting?
Well, as for me, Finnish media is so professional. Like they don't say their own feelings through their articles. So maybe that's why Russian minority in Finland is more supportive to Ukrainians than Russians in Russia. Because in Russia, our conventional media is just full of propaganda, and they say that in Ukraine there was nationalists, they killed their own people, and a lot of Russians in Russia, mostly adults, think that we help Ukraine. That Russia helped Ukraine to kill their nationalists, and they welcome Russian army in Ukraine, while that's, of course, that's disinformation, that's not true. But a lot of people blindly they blindly watch this TV, and they want to believe them, and they believe. While in Finland, that's much more. Your media is more open, and then we can see different like angles to this situation in Ukraine. But Russian media lie in every word, so.
Yeah, that it has been discussed quite a lot as well, like how the propaganda is pretty heavy,
Yeah.
and how it's quite dangerous also to speak
It's very
out.
dangerous, yeah.
But you don't see that this influences the Russians living in Finland. That is, there's some people that like to follow the Russian media as well, or it's mainly like more mixed.
Well, mostly Russians who live in Finland doesn't support this position. They mostly they have like, you know, they have this possible to read Finnish news in Russian language, where they see that another point, not like in Russian media, so they are not too much into Russian position. While Russians who live in Russia much support this Putin and his decisions much more, but not young people, mostly not, because they
You use also social media more, right?
yeah, that's because.
thinking now that we have been now like kind of there has been like a very rapid like change in the foreign policy in Finland as well. Like thinking that now we are in the process of joining NATO, which is like really quite a big change. Thinking of that of course it has been a long discussion, but then it was quite a sudden turn to that people actually started supporting joining NATO. So how do you see this? That will this impact like somehow the ethnic relations?
Well, as I feel in normal life, nothing changed. It can be changed only in politics. As for me, maybe Russian can just maybe for Russians it can change for a bit. Like it can be harder to come home and then come to Finland back, but it already was hard through this COVID situation, so maybe it can be just the same.
So the time will show us now that if there will be some changes, how this will
Yeah.
the situation will develop then. But it's good that at least you seem to have a positive mind that there shouldn't be no fears at least.
No fear, because war already happened. I don't think that I can fear more. So yeah.
So what about in general? That do you see some positive signals that what could maybe change this heated debate? Do you see that now there's like kind of somehow a turning point? At least it was a positive signal to hear that at least on the ground, face to face, people seem to be able to talk and change views. So any positive signals for the future?
Well, I think that Europeans, not only Finnish but every country, they can discuss about minority problems, Russian-speaking minority problems, because now it's really popular theme in everywhere, because there is a lot of now
awareness about it,
and
attention.
There is attention now, and now Finland see that they have a lot of Russians, and they see that much more than they saw it before. Like it's obvious, but now it's much more obviously. So, and I see pretty much also videos where Finnish parents in videos say that please be nice, be friendly to Russian-speaking children in your school, and say to your children they shouldn't bully them, they should help them. So maybe now it's much more comfortable atmosphere for immigrants from Ukraine and from Russia, from every Russian-speaking country, and just for every immigrants. Now there is a lot of attention in immigrants question, so that's good. That's really positive change.
But that's an interesting thing that to hear you to say that, like that maybe in the end we somehow break then the old tension between the Finns and the Russians that has been there since the war.
That's I don't think that war was good reason for changes, but war always changed something. So, and it's good that it changed something in positive way.
Okay, but this is an interesting reflection.
Yeah, that is.
But thank you so much for this discussion. It has been a pleasure to chat with you, and
thank you
we
so
will
much.
also continue this discussion then in Helsinki soon. But thank you so much.
Thank you for the invitation.